Okay, in this session we will read about the ECG changes in coronary artery disease. We know that coronary artery disease is the most common acquired cardiac disease of modern times, and ECG plays a very vital role as it is a reliable tool. It is portable, it is easily available, it can be done bedside, and so ECG is used for diagnosing and risk stratifying and planning the treatment of such cases. However, ECG changes may not reflect the underlying severity of the problem in all patients, for which clinical judgment and other further investigations are required. Okay. Now, coronary artery disease can be divided into two parts. One is myocardial infarction, which is by which we mean that there is cellular damage because of ischemia, and other are the angina syndromes. A myocardial infarction is further divided into two types, ST elevation and non-ST elevation. This is ECG classification. And so ECG in MI, our main purpose. ECG in MI, जैसे कि we will find new pathological Q waves in ECG of an MI patient. There will be ST elevation and there will be reciprocal ST depression also. New onset left bundle branch block especially. So although right bundle branch block can also be there, but left bundle branch block is an ECG criteria for diagnosing MI. Okay. Okay. ST elevation MI evolves in three phases. Hyperacute phase, in which there are tall, symmetrical, peaked, and widened T waves. There is ST elevation, and R wave amplitude increases. Then there comes evolved phase after a period of hours, which remains for hours. There is J point and ST elevation, T wave inversion, new onset left bundle branch block, and QT prolongation. New onset left bundle branch block is in itself a criteria for ECG diagnosis of ST elevation MI. Then, after a period of days to weeks, there comes the chronic stabilized phase in which Q waves evolve maximally. That is it. Q waves are there in evolved phase also, but they are more pathognomic of chronic stabilized phase. And in chronic stabilized phase, all the previous changes, that is J point and ST elevation, T wave inversion, QT prolongation, this comes to normal values. So chronic stabilized phase is basically stabilization of previously pathological phases. Though it is also pathological, but the changes they revert back to a great extent. For example, in this ECG, we can see ST elevation in lead V1, V2, and V3. These three leads are the anterior, the uh, chest leads, and they they correspond to the anteroseptal MI that we will study in the next slide. Okay, now to localize MI, we should understand that there are three main walls of left ventricle: anterior wall, inferior wall, and posterior wall. Now, anterior wall can be further divided into six regions, and the different branches of mainly left anterior descending artery supply these regions. Now, depending on the level of this artery where it blocks different types of anteroseptal, anterolateral, anteroviral, different types of anterior wall MIs they occur. So this is all about anterior wall MI. Now comes the inferior wall MI. Inferior wall can be divided into two regions. One is infero-posterior, which is supplied by proximal RCA. RCA it turns backward. It moves backward into the posterior interventricular groove, and it supplies the infero-posterior region of inferior wall. And inferolateral wall, yeah, inferolateral region, it is supplied by left circumflex. So this is inferior wall MI. Posterior wall MI, it is basically associated with inferior wall MI. It is also called as posterolateral, yeah, lateral wall. The artery involved here is left circumflex artery mainly. Occasionally right circumflex artery may also be involved, but main is the left circumflex artery. It is more important because most of the people are left dominant. That is why. So, for example, in this image, there are various branches of the arteries of the heart which are shown. This is the right coronary. This is the left main coronary. Left main coronary divides into left circumflex and left anterior descending. Now, left anterior descending supplies the most of the anterior wall of the heart, and depending on the region where it is blocked, different types of different regions of anterior wall will be involved, and which will result into different patterns of ST elevation in different leads. For example, if there is anterior septal MI, the ST elevation will be seen in lead number V1 to V3. And if there is anterolateral MI, means LAD is blocked after septal branch. This is the septal branch, number 17. And if LAD is blocked after 17 number, suppose from here, anterolateral MI will occur. And ST elevation will be seen in lead number V1 to V4. So this is how we diagnose, we localize MI and involved artery. Now suppose there is lateral wall involvement, means large obtuse marginal. This 20 number branch is involved. Then there will be ST elevation in lateral leads. Lateral leads are lead V5 and V6. And lead 1 and lead AVL. ST elevation will be seen in these leads. Now suppose there is posterior MI. In posterior MI, the conventional leads will not show any ST elevation because the vector is directed posteriorly. So if we place leads V7, V8 and V9, ST elevation will be seen in these leads. There will be reciprocal ST depression in lead V1, V2 and lead V3. Now this slide shows us anterior MI. In anterior MI, there is ST elevation in leads V1 to V4 and to some extent V5 also. Right, I think there is a little elevation in V6 also. So yeah, plus there is ST elevation in lead 2, 3 and AVF. So this is a kind of anterior MI plus inferior wall MI. So this is how we localize the MI and the involved artery. The artery involved here will be left anterior descending, of course, and left anterior descending mainly at the uh, LMCA level, means left main coronary artery level, or we can say proximal LAD. No, it will not be proximal LAD involvement. It will be LMCA involvement only. Yes, LMCA involvement, because there is inferior wall also involved. Right. So if we know the anatomy of the coronary arteries and we correlate the ECG, we can localize the MI and the involved artery. Here is another ECG in which there is ST elevation in lead 2, 3 and AVF. In lead 2, 3 and AVF. So these are inferior leads, means this is inferior MI. And the artery involved here will be right coronary artery or left circumflex artery. Right? So mostly inferior MI uh, is caused by left coronary artery. Sorry, left circumflex artery, right? And there is reciprocal ST depression in lead AVL and lead 1 also. So this is reciprocal ST depression, reciprocal ST change, right? Now here is a slide of Wellen syndrome, which becomes important in discussion of coronary artery disease ECG. Wellen syndrome is basically a reperfusion injury current, which is manifested in leads V1, V2 and V3 mainly. There is T wave, biphasic T wave. Initially the T wave is upright and in the later part it becomes negative. So positive and negative T wave. So this is Wellen syndrome. Wellen syndrome is a reperfusion injury current which is seen in reperfusion of the previously infarcted area. And there are studies which show that this is re-occlusion or re-stenosis of the of the previously open artery. Means after MI, restenosis of the artery occurs, then also this change is seen. This is called as Wellen syndrome. So there comes a DD of this biphasic T wave. Here biphasic T wave first positive then negative. If in a biphasic T wave first negative and then positive, what will it become? If there is biphasic T wave which is first negative then positive, this is seen in hypokalemia. Hypokalemia. So we must not confuse hypokalemia with Wellen syndrome. That is it. Now here comes the right ventricular myocardial infarction. See, RVMI is not very common, but if there is inferior wall MI, 30% cases will have RVMI. So it becomes important when there is inferior wall MI. What will be the ECG manifestations? There will be ST elevation in V1 to V4, but this is positive. This is seen in anterior wall MI also. So it mix anterior wall MI, but in anterior wall MI there will be reciprocal ST depression. But in RVMI, there is failure of manifestation of reciprocal ST depression. So we can differentiate RVMI from AWMI on the basis of reciprocal ST depression. In extra right precordial reads, V4R, V5R, V6R, ST elevation will be seen. Here in this ECG, there is ST elevation in V1, V2, V3, and V4. Here it is written V4R. In V4R, there will be ST elevation 2. And there will be ST depression if it was anterior wall MI. But in this case, there is ST elevation in 2, 3, and AVF. So it is a kind of uh, ST elevation MI, right ventricular myocardial infarction, along with inferior wall MI. Right, there is ST depression in lead 1 and AVL also. So it is inferior wall ST elevation MI and right ventricular MI. So we can correlate from the statistics also that if there is inferior wall MI, there we should look for RVMI, and in this ECG both the cases are seen. Now non-ST elevation MI, which means ST depression. ST depression MI occurs when there is ischemia of the subendocardial region because the vector changes from positive to negative. So there is ST depression instead of ST elevation, and we know that non-ST elevation will evolve into ST elevation MI. So the lines of treatment of non-ST elevation and ST elevation are pretty same. Now there is ST depression in lead V5 and V6 along with T wave inversion, and the similar finding of T wave inversion is seen in lead 2, 3 and AVF also. So this is an non-ST elevation MI of inferior wall as well as lateral wall. So this is inferolateral non-ST elevation MI. See, arrhythmias during MI. Most common is sinus tachycardia. Ventricular arrhythmias like ventricular tachycardia, ventricular fibrillation, VPCs, and idioventricular rhythm are also very common. Atrial arrhythmias, sinus bradycardia can also occur, especially in inferior wall MI, and conduction blocks and heart block can also occur. Conduction block here, like new onset LBBB, is the diagnostic ECG criteria for diagnosis of acute MI. Right, so it becomes important. New onset LBBB, if present, it can itself tell us that this is an acute onset MI. QRBB in AWMI signifies a proximal LAD occlusion and is due to infarction of the IVS, means it is talking about anteroseptal MI. In anteroseptal MI, there is ST elevation in lead V1 to V3 along with QRBBB pattern. Right, there can be bivascular blocks also. Most common tachycardia is sinus tachycardia. Most common cause of death in MI within first hour is VFib. Right, VFib is the most common cause. It is the most dangerous type of arrhythmia. Though sinus tachycardia is most common. Most common cause of death is VFib. Right. C. Angina means chest pain, which occurs due to myocardial ischemia. It can be of three types: chronic stable angina, Hurden's angina, which means that chest pain occurs only when a certain level of effort is applied by a person, and chest pain starts then. Then it means chronic stable angina means at rest it will not occur. In these cases, 50% will have normal ECG. ST depression and T wave inversion may be present at rest. That is important. Otherwise, we do stress test. Means we make the patient run on a treadmill, and after that we record the ECG. And if there is ST depression of more than 1 mm in lead B5 and B6, it will form the basis of positive stress test, which is also known as broken parabola sign. Means there will be ST depression. Now, in chronic unstable angina, chest pain will be occurring at rest even. So there will be T wave inversion with or without ST depression. ST depression is mostly seen in leads V5 and V6. See, pseudo-normalization of STD means there is T wave inversion. Initially there was ST depression, and after that T wave inversion remained there, but ST depression normalized into normal ST segment. So ventricular arrhythmias are also common. So chronic stable angina is quite more dangerous than chronic unstable angina is quite more dangerous than stable angina. Now, Prinzmetal angina means vasospastic angina, means there is no apparent coronary artery disease, but there is vasospasm of the stenosed atherosclerotic artery, which gives rise to chest pain. It can be, it can occur anytime during rest or during effort. So, Prinzmetal angina is very unpredicted type of angina because no one knows when it will occur. Whenever there is vasospasm, there is chest pain. Now, ST elevation is the hallmark, means Prinzmetal angina is quite different from other two anginas. So, ST elevation is the hallmark. It is important in this case. ST segment has concave upwards configuration. We will see the ECG in a few slides. Tall, upright, pointed, and widened T wave. That is also important. Means it quite a lot resembles with the MI. There is transient bundle branch blocks, left axis deviation, R wave increases, S wave decreases, and arrhythmias are also common. So Prinzmetal angina is dangerous, most dangerous of all the three. Now this is a stable angina showing ST depression. Nothing much is there. There should be T wave inversion, but it is not seen in this ECG. Now it is exercise ECG. So which lead it must be? It must be V5 or V6 because it must not be, but it most probably it should be V5 or V6 because ST segment depression occurs in these leads mostly. Now there is Prinzmetal angina seen in this ECG. See, in Prinzmetal angina we have already discussed that there is ST elevation, and ST elevation is seen in all these leads. And the property of ST segment elevation is that it is concave upwards. There should be T wave inversion, but it is not there in this ECG. Right, so there is ST segment elevation, which is the hallmark of the Prinzmetal angina. Right, there can be blocks, there can be uh, arrhythmias, but in this ECG we are seeing only the hallmark, that is ST elevation with concave upwards ST segment. Now here comes an important question, that how will you diagnose anterior wall MI with left bundle branch block? We know that anterior wall MI is seen in leads V1 to V6, and left bundle branch block is also seen in lead V1 to V6. So if both of these are present together, they will interfere with their manifestation on the ECG. So how will we diagnose anterior wall MI with LVBB? Now we will discuss this topic in two subtopics. First is acute inferior wall MI, means if the anterior wall MI is acute and there is previous LVBB. So to alleviate this problem, Garbosa et al. Gave a criteria that how do we differentiate acute anterior wall from previous LVBB. So she used two terms. One is concordant ST elevation and other is discordant ST elevation. Concordant means we have to look at two things. Concordant means one will be positive, other will also be positive. That is, if QRS complex is positive and there is ST elevation, it is concordant ST elevation. But if there is discordant ST elevation, it means if the QRS complex is negative and ST elevation is positive. So this is discordant ST elevation. In previous LBBB, discordant ST elevation is a common phenomena. It is okay. It is there to a certain extent, but concordant ST elevation is never found in left bundle branch block. So if there is concordant ST elevation even up to 1 mm, it must not be due to LBBB. It is definitely due to anterior wall MI. So there are points of Garbosa et al. Criteria. There are 5 points given to the first criteria, and if there are 3 points given to this criteria and 2 points given to this criteria. Now, if the total number of points are three or more, so it means there is acute anterior wall MI with previous left bundle. Means LBBB was previously there, but anterior wall MI is new in onset. Now this ECG is misplaced over here because it should be there in the next slide. But here what we see is there is a notching of the S wave in lead V3 and there is a notching in lead V2. This is seen in old anterior wall MI with the previous left bundle branch block, and this is a sign known as Cabrera's sign. Cabrera, Cabrera's sign. This is used for diagnosis of old anterior wall MI, and in old anterior wall MI there must be Q wave also. Q wave in these leads, but it is not visible over here. So I think this is Q wave itself. This is also Q wave, right? So there must be a Q wave also to diagnose old anterior wall MI. Right. Here is the Cabrera sign. It is seen in lead V3 to V5. There is notching of R wave in lead 1, AVL and V6, which is called as Chapman sign. These two signs can be used to diagnose old anterior wall MI with previous LBBB, right? So this is all about ECG in coronary artery disease. Thank you very much.